It was the Halloween night of 2011 when I was out trick-or-treating with two of my close friends. For disclaimer purposes, I'll be using pseudonyms, as I like to keep the identity of everyone involved in this story anonymous. That being said, I'll go by the alias Mike. My friends will go by Tom and Jerry, respectively. We were all dressed as characters from our favorite childhood cartoons. I was dressed as Naruto, as that was my favorite anime. Tom was dressed as Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Jerry was dressed as Spider-Man, as he was a hardcore fan of the Tobey Maguire series that aired in the early 2000s. I remember us trick-or-treating for about a solid hour or two around the neighborhood. I could feel my legs get sore from all the relentless walking and strain from carrying my heavy sack of candy. My bag was starting to get full to the brim. My friends' bags were just as full, as they began carrying their sacks over their shoulders like they were Santa Claus delivering gifts on a Christmas evening. If I had $1 for every candy that was inside my bag, I would have definitely had enough to buy myself a new gaming console. Guys, can we go home?
Dude, don't give up yet. We still got room in our bags. Just 10 more minutes, man. You're just saying that because you're practically wearing a onesie made out of women's leggings. At least you don't have to wear this stupid wig on your head. Stop being such wimps. This day only comes once a year, so grow up, hair, and let's keep going.
Jerry began to make his way further down the street, while me and Tom looked at each other with a disdain look that screamed, "Let's get this over with quick." We then proceeded to walk towards Jerry's direction. I recall Jerry already standing in front of a house with his arms extending his bag towards the candy giver saying, "Trick or treat!" I also noticed this one trick-or-treater wearing a Jason Voorhees mask standing behind him. He was a tall and slim kind of guy who was either a really big kid or just an older man who didn't want to give up the trick-or-treating tradition. As we approached another house, Jerry said,
"Alright guys, just 2 more houses, then we can bounce."
The individual wearing the Jason mask casually inserts himself in the conversation and says,
"Would you guys mind if I trick-or-treat with you as well? I lost my friends and don't have my cell phone on me."
I personally didn't want this guy tagging along, as I was already done with the day and didn't need any further baggage prolonging the night. I casually make eye contact with Tom and Jerry while desperately trying to portray signals to not accept the guy's request. Jerry enthusiastically says,
"Yeah, sure, let's go."
Thanks, guys. You made my Halloween so much better.
We then proceeded to walk towards the next house while I began sulking under my breath saying, "Frickin' prick, since when was Jerry the shot caller?" After about several minutes of trick-or-treating, I could honestly say that I didn't mind his company, as he seemed like a nice guy and introduced himself as Jason. No pun intended. We eventually finished trick-or-treating and decided to call it a night. Myself, Tom, and Jerry say our farewells to Jason as he responds saying,
"It was nice meeting you guys. Just out of curiosity, whereabouts do y'all live? Maybe I can walk with y'all home."
Again, Jerry sporadically discloses the name of our street to him as me and Tom expressively show our disdain to Jerry for revealing such personal information.
Well, how ironic. I live around y'all's area too. You guys mind if I walk home with you?
Me and Tom remained silent as we made it pretty evident that we were upset at Jerry.
Dude, I don't think my friends want to go—
You guys look awfully tired. Just to make y'all feel better, I do know a shortcut if you're trying to avoid the long walk home.
Yeah, sure, dude.
Count me in, dude. Where's it at?
Jason then points his finger in the direction of an entrance of a forest preserve and says,
"We'd have to walk through there. There's a path that could get us home in about 10 minutes tops."
I'm gonna have to pass. I don't like deer, and I'm not trying to get eaten by a bear today.
"Screw it, I'm going."
Same. I want to get home faster, dude. Later, Jerry.
Me, Tom, and Jason begin making our way inside the forest while Jerry casually hangs back to go to his alternate direction home. As we got deeper into the forest, Jason took out a flashlight from his candy bag and began to flash it towards the pathway ahead of us. Well, I wouldn't really call it a pathway, as the entire ground was covered in dirt, leaves, trees, and bushes scattered everywhere. I remember walking for about 10 minutes, but In reality, it felt like 30. His directions were precise and his voice was comprehensible. I understood every instruction he was directing us to walk in, but couldn't digest why the walk was taking so long. I had completely ignored the fact that it was well over 10 minutes. For better context, me and Tom were leading the walk while Jason shined his flashlight from behind while giving out directions.
Yo, are we there yet? My legs are freaking killing me, man. Dude, when are we gonna make it home? It's been like 20 minutes already.
We'll be arriving there in just a minute, boys.
As we began to walk further down the forest, I casually turned my head to glance at Jason, only to see him wearing his mask.
You still wearing your mask, and I'm starting to believe you're not leading us home.
Stop!
Jason then points at 2 shovels sitting on a small area of open dirt and says,
Both of you, pick up the shovels now!
Dude, what's going on?
Jason then pulls out a long machete from the back of his pants and says,
Pick up those shovels and start digging a hole!
What?
Do it, weeb!
Dude, please, just let us go!
Pick up the shovel and start digging, Naruto! This is your last warning that I'm killing you both!
That's when me and Tom pick up the shovels and frantically start digging. In the back of my head, I was legitimately contemplating putting up a fight with this psycho as it was 2 against 1 with the aid of the shovels. Unfortunately, I couldn't muster up the courage to put up a fight against him as I didn't want to run the risk of mine or Tom's head getting chopped off. About 15 to 20 minutes later, me and Tom dug a hole big enough for the both of us to fit inside it. As we were about to make our way out of the hole, Jason shouts,
Don't move! Stay in the hole!
As he forcibly grabs both the shovels away from us while holding the machete against us. Jason then tucks the machete inside his pants, grabs one of the shovels, and begins burying us alive with the dirt we just dug out. I began to feel my vision getting blurry as the overwhelming amount of dirt he was tossing at us impaired my vision.
Please, I don't want to die. I'm too young for this, please! Please, let us go! Why are you doing this? We're only kids!
All I remember thinking about in that moment was how a human could do such an inhumane act, and how I was literally going to share my remaining moments on Earth being buried alive with my best friend. I was at the point where I had already accepted death. I recall the taste of dirt and dead bugs going inside my mouth. The sensation of dirt hitting my skin was all I felt. That's when I heard a loud thud like he had just bashed Tom's brains out. I couldn't hear or feel any more dirt hitting the surface of my face. I rubbed my eyes to clear my vision, only to see Jason laying face down on the ground unconscious, with my other friend Jerry holding the shovel. Me and Tom then dig ourselves out of the hole and hop back to ground level. Despite surviving the catastrophe and being able to run away scot-free, I grabbed the machete from the back of Jason's pants. I then held him up by the forehead and began hacking at his neck, slicing and dicing repeatedly. I eventually decapitated his head while my entire Naruto costume was covered in blood. I remember seeing my friends nonchalantly watching me with a gaunt emotion, almost like my sadistic actions didn't even faze them. I then pushed his body into the hole as my friends began to collectively bury him. As outlandish as the story sounds, it was a true story that actually happened to me. I always wondered what heaven would be like if I was to die alongside my friend Tom that night. Jerry was initially supposed to head home, but decided to follow us as he saw the machete tucked in the back of Jason's pants. He began to directly follow behind our footsteps and unexpectedly witnessed the altercation go down. As we were getting buried alive, he used the opportunity to knock Jason out with the second shovel sitting behind him. I still don't know to this day if his remains were ever discovered. All I know is that I had a deadly conscious seep inside my head that night, but at the same time, a hint of satisfaction.
All I need to be happy is a rope to skip. I'm serious. I'll tell you why. Because a little jump rope can turn any bad situation into a real fun time. I learned this from the last time I went trick-or-treating. I'd spent the whole day perfecting my Harley Quinn costume, but the act just didn't feel complete until I picked up my jump rope and started skipping it. The backyard was my jump rope world championship stage, and everyone was thoroughly dazzled by my moves. Well, everyone except Kat. She came by a couple hours after sundown and immediately started cramping my style.
Come on, Tracy. Let's go trick-or-treating before all the good candy's gone. My name is Harley. Can't you see? Whatever, weirdo. Let's go. I'd rather stay here and skip rope all night. Your Catwoman costume isn't even good. It's enough for candy. I'm not crazy like you. So you only dressed up for candy? That's kind of lame. Well, it's also fun to just show off. You've got a point. I guess I'll go. Good. Now leave the rope. Harley Quinn doesn't skip rope. Ugh, fine.
That poser ended up dragging me all over the neighborhood that night. She took all of my candy, and when she got scared, she made me walk her all the way home. She lives an entire mile away from me, too. So inconsiderate. I never even told her what happened. I was walking home all alone super late that night, and I didn't even have my jump rope. What a drag. But then I noticed this older boy who was dressed as the Joker had come up behind me and started following me. I didn't recognize him. And all of the Jokers, he decided that Jared Leto was the way to go. Lame. I turned around and faced him.
Who are you?
Why, I'm the Joker, of course. Your one true love.
Why's that?
Don't you know? We're meant to be together. Harley Quinn always falls for the Joker.
Haven't you seen the new movie? I dumped you. You're gross.
That made him mad. This ain't the movie, sweetheart. I'm telling you, the Joker always gets his Harley Quinn. He then pulled out a knife. He swung at me, but I ran. I thought I'd outrun him, so I ran into the woods to cut across to my house. Boy, that was a bad idea. He caught up with me quick as soon as I got into the trees. He tackled me and pinned me down into the dirt. I screamed for help, but he put his hand over my mouth. Shh, baby girl. I'm just gonna give you a little reminder that you belong to me. So be happy about it. I thought I was going to die. He sliced my forehead with a smiley face, real slow. It hurt so bad, but I couldn't move anything at all. He was on top of me and held me down. But when the blood ran down into my eyes, I freaked. I squirmed and flailed until I got just one leg loose from his restraint. Then I kneed him straight in the balls with all my might. He fell back shouting and dropped his knife, holding his hand on his crotch. I picked up the knife before he could react, gripped it real tight, and then plunged it right into his stupid eyeball. Oh, how those screams were music to my ears.
No stopping now.
I thought. So I got on him and took the knife out of his left eye and shoved it to the right. Then I stabbed him again and again until there was nothing left of his stupid wannabe face but pure carnage. He went limp, and I caught my breath.
All I wanted to do was skip some friggin' rope. So now, you're gonna help me out.
I raised the knife way up high with both hands and stuck it into his gut, then sliced all the way across his belly. I pried open all the skin and fat and exposed all the wonderful organic cordage within. I pulled out a nice long section of his small intestine and severed it with the blade. It was slippery, but it worked. I stood up and found my back.